It's Monday, October 6th, and at Adam's behest or suggestion, we are theoretically going to talk about robots today. And we even have, I see a new person joining us whose um, Zoom name is a small robot, but maybe we'll find out what his real name is. And oh my gosh, Alger Salt joined us. Alger, we're going to have to talk about your VOTEM in the context of science and robotics. So actually, hey Alger, are you on?
I'm on. Let's see. Am I muted?
No, I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Oh my God. So Alger, for the sake of everybody who's here and who don't know who you are,
Yeah. All right.
tell us about yourself and your history there.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've I must admit I've not even picked up or looked at a Timex Sinclair computer in several decades. But years ago, I guess this was back in the early and mid 80s when the ZX81 had just come out. Um, a friend, workmate, and I decided that um, we need to build an analog interface for this computer,
Hmm.
and so we did. We we based it on um, gosh, I forget what the number of the chip was, but it was an analog device's voltage to frequency converter.
Yeah.
And so we used that to go into the input that was used for the cassette recordings. And and on our device, we added some other capabilities. Um, like we put a semiconductor temperature probe. Really, it was just a transistor stuck at the end of a at the end of some wires, and and it actually worked quite well for it was very linear between 0 and 100 degrees C. And let's see, we added some other capabilities to it. The ability to actually kind of filter and clean up the frequency input signal if you needed to. We put a like a Schmidt trigger in there.
Okay.
So at any rate, we sold those things on via the postage route for a few years, and finally finally moved on to other things and other interests.
So I think um, I think you told me this a while back that you sold one to a college engineering group that used it on a project that went on one of the space shuttles.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Some group out of uh, UCLA at Stanford, I think.
Okay.
And at any rate, they had an experiment to make hollow ball bearings in space, and the I guess the advantage of making them in space is that they would be perfectly symmetrical and perfectly spherical. Um, and these would be ball bearings that could be used in biomedical applications. And it went up on the Columbia Space Shuttle. And reports that I got said the experiment itself did not work, but our device ended up measuring the temperature of the cargo bay the whole time.
Oh wow.
uh,
Now, did you know that there was a company out of Salt Lake City that had designed a system to clean and re-sterilize artificial kidneys that used the Timex Sinclair 1000 and your device?
oh no.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, there was a whole ad for it. So I'm gonna unspotlight
Wait,
you.
I want to know if that was an oh no, that's terrible, or an oh no, that's great.
No, that's a good thing. No, oh no, I had not heard of it. So,
I'm going to share the webpage. So anyway, the thing that y'all made was called the VOTEM, and that was named because you could measure voltage and temperature,
yeah,
among other
exactly.
things, right? But
Yeah.
the primary. I'm going to share this little page that I have for it. Okay, so here's the VOTEM. I have a bunch of pictures of these because somehow over the years I've managed to come into possession of about 3 or 4 of these.
Oh wow. Well, hell,
Yeah.
you've got more than I do now then. I think I've got one lying around.
So like you said, it connected to the cassette input, and then the through the software running on the 1000, you would measure the frequency of the sound coming in, and then turn that back into what was the voltage, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We had a little assembly language or machine language subroutine that would actually measure the frequency at the appearing at the cassette input.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you know about Fred Macbauer. He wrote a program for it that
Okay.
had even higher resolution, I think, than you probably were anticipating. So it had a little life of its own.
Yeah. Cool.
And I,
Yeah.
I remember seeing ads for it in Sync a million years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So what did you go on to do after all that?
After that, went into,
Well, before we go on to
Oh,
what happened after, how many
mhm.
were sold about?
oh, I'd say several hundred. I don't think
Okay.
I don't think it was as many as 1,000, maybe like 300 or so.
And did you ever hear feedback from people I mean, before today? Like you heard,
Yeah, some mostly positive.
mostly positive. Okay, that's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. And I just remembered that analog devices chip was that round that round
Yeah,
thing at the bottom left of the picture there. It was an AD 531 voltage to frequency converter.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. There were a
it
couple, little
yeah
devices like that back then, and that
yeah.
was probably one of the better ones.
It's a pretty cool device because it also has a temperature measurement built into it. So you can measure ambient temperature with that.
Oh, oh, how crazy! I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
and this was, it was $40 for the kit, $60 assembled, and the 1980 what, 2, 3. That's not
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
not too bad, but
Yeah.
very cool. And you sold some overseas. I think you
Mhm.
told me a while back.
Yeah.
So, what did you go to do after that?
So after that, I went into the pharmaceutical industry, worked at Burroughs Wellcome, and then Burroughs Wellcome was acquired by Glaxo and became Glaxo Wellcome. And then in 2000, Glaxo merged with SmithKline Beecham to become GlaxoSmithKline or GSK. And I worked there until 2016.
Okay, okay. And what did you do? Was it more, you know?
I was in product development, more specifically in laboratory automation. My
Okay,
my my training was chemistry.
but it would have been a perfect, use for the photon.
Yeah,
You could have
yeah,
cornered a market.
yeah. That's right. Yeah, uh,
US or UK?
in the U.S. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very
I'm
cool.
now I'm now based in Durham, North Carolina, and the last 20 years there worked at Research Triangle Park,
Wow,
which is right next door here.
wow. Well, that's really cool. I'm glad you finally joined us, Alger. That's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. So what have I missed in the world of Timex Sinclair?
Well, there was a lot. You may have heard that Timex exited the market in '84,
Mhm.
and then there was a big sort of big for the Timex community, cottage industry, making disk drives and all kinds of stuff, printer interfaces. All people held on to their computers for years and years and years,
Yeah.
and the community persisted for literally decades. Like there was a newsletter that started um, in the '90s that published its last issue in I think 2002 or so. And
Okay.
then, the internet sort of came along, and folks, there was a Yahoo group that lasted for quite a while. Adam, the guy with the blue background,
Yeah.
was pretty active in that.
Oh,
Yeah.
And when Yahoo shut down, we all moved over to this other kind of group called Groups.io. And during the pandemic, one of our folks who's not here tonight, Stuart Neufeld from Zebra Systems,
Mhm.
suggested that we start meeting on Zoom. And apparently that was a popular thing.
Yeah. All right.
And so I've been reaching out to folks like you, trying to convince you to, come hang out with us and tell us your story. And I'm glad you finally joined us. And
Yeah.
and so then lately, within the past year, because we've had this ability to talk to each other, sort of in real time every once in a while.
Mhm.
Um, we have with us Gustavo, who's in Argentina. There's another fellow in Argentina who started developing hardware for the 2068 using the Raspberry Pico Pi. And
Okay.
they built a little system that lets you save and load to SD cards instead of tape. Uh,
Yeah.
because tape's a little slow, and we're all getting older, and we can't
Mhm.
wait.
Yeah.
One of the other guys who's here, Jeff, built a card that using the same Raspberry Pico Pi chip module rather, built
Okay.
a card that monitors the data bus on the 2068 and generates a high quality VGA video signal.
Oh, nice.
It's an yeah, and people are coming up with all kinds of stuff. Carl, who's
Yeah.
here, has started with a recreation of this cartridge module that Timex Sinclair sold for the 1500. It was kind of like their attempt at you know making video games easier to load on the
Mhm.
1000 or 1500. And then he just kept adding features to it, giving it more memory, and making it even niftier. And along with Ryan, who's not here tonight, Ryan wrote software that will convert just about any program to run on a cartridge out of this interface. And then
Okay.
Carl's also working on this massively powerful uh,
Oh,
version of the 1000 with built-in memory and built-in file system, digital file system, and
yeah.
audio chips. It's been
Yeah.
crazy.
Very cool.
Yeah, that that's the board that's behind me. Well, a 3D rendition of it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, Carl, talk about it just for a sec.
Yeah, so yeah, ironically, well, hi, Alger, I'm Carl. Um, I kind of saw myself doing 2068 hardware more, but like David said, I just kind of did that cartridge, the 1510 cartridge adapter, and it's just kind of I've just kind of been stuck on the 1000.
Okay.
But there's still some legs there. So the board behind me kind of is just a culmination of, well, I'm kind of working with this other guy. He's not here, but his name's Ingo, and he's making a full-sized keyboard case that the 1000 board will go into. Actually, this board behind me will go into. That way you have a full-size keyboard, right? You don't have the little bitty
Yeah.
membrane keyboard or, some of these other recreations of that. But we said, well, we want to do, kind of add all the features that most people would like a joystick port, to control, primarily games, I guess, but, other programs could use it too. So this is so we threw that programmable joystick port. So you run a little program and you can redefine the keys that it stimulates, right? So
Yeah.
we didn't want to do it the old-fashioned way where it would just go to the cursor keys or something like that, because there's so much software out there that uses different keys, so you have to be able to reprogram the joystick controller, right?
Yeah.
So that was pretty easy to do. And it's not my design, it was somebody else's design back in the 80s, but I just kind of revived it and put it in here. And then there's also a thing called the ZX Westby, which is it's an ESP32 micro controller thing that it also it sniffs the video that comes out of the ULA and internally on the fly recreates a VGA output
Wow.
of the ZX81. So yeah, it's black and white still, but now it's VGA. And then also has a Wi-Fi built in, right? So you can connect it to a file server and load software onto the Westby RAM. It's got like 1 mega RAM in there. And then it's got a file system where you can just run those programs. So that way you kind of get away from having to deal with any kind of tape, right? Plus it brings it into the modern world a little bit with, being able to load it over the network.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So,
yeah.
And then I kind of this last rev here, we said, well, let's throw some audio in there too, right? That was something that they kind of added. These add-ons. I think it's the Xeon or something like that.
Okay.
Vonix, yeah, that basically brought the AY, the same sound chip that's in the color Timex to the 1000. So now we've got sound. We don't have color, but we might talk to Paul Farrow, which he made a thing called the Chroma 81, which actually does color
Steve
for the
Jobs says
ZX81.
that we don't need color, so I'm pretty
There was
sure
a certain
that
amount of truth.
it's official and no one needs it.
Alright.
So
Right. And then, so this stuff behind me is actually kind of culmination of something I was doing as an expansion project, right? That you would plug into the back of a 1000.
Okay.
And it would kind of add all these features to an existing machine, right?
Wow.
Well, this one behind me is kind of its own thing, right? It totally replaces the original motherboard. It'll fit into an original case, but it's gonna really design for Ingo's case. But then, as I just sent David, I haven't sent it to anybody else yet, but I just finished up the design for that expansion. So the expansion board will be sandwiched together just to kind of save space. And it kind of combines all the functions that what I have behind me, except for the Westby. The Westby's not on there because it needs to look at the video signal, and there's no there's no video signal on the expansion bus on the 1000, unfortunately.
Okay.
But the rest of it's there. The joystick port, the sound, and I guess I didn't really talk about the RAM. It's got 512K of RAM. So I mean, so much RAM in that thing.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah. So I mean, there's, we're still making stuff for these things. 40 some odd years later.
That's wild.
So yeah, who knew?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Alright.
Exactly. Cool. Thanks, Carl.
Mhm.
So, and actually, that's probably a good segue into the world of robots, because your VOTEM Alger could actually be used in as a input device for a Sinclair 681 or Timex Sinclair 1000 based robot platform. So Adam asked a few weeks back if we could talk about robots, and So I pulled together some resources, and I'll send the link out. It's not yet published on the website, but I pulled together some resources um, for people who built robots. And we've talked about the one before. This guy, Bruce Taylor, built something called the Henry. And I'll just share my screen so we can look at this.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you have that ready because I don't, that's for sure. Excellent. Check it out.
So yeah, so Bruce built this, and if you really followed all those robot articles that showed up in magazines back in the early 80s, you would
Yes.
sort of recognize this because he based his on this design that was in radio electronics, if I recall correctly. But his is so under that plastic dome, which usually hides a security
Oh,
camera.
wait, where does
Go
it
ahead.
say it's from right there? I can't quite read that.
The unicorn design? Is that what
No,
you're saying?
it's right under where it says right before the date.
Right before the date.
Oh, Albuquerque.
Oh,
Oh,
Albuquerque.
there
Yes,
we
yes.
go. Oh,
Yes, it was
thank
the
you.
International Personal Robot Congress and Exposition in Albuquerque, April 13th to 15th, a very long time ago, 1984.
Mm.
uh, so, and there's a lot of pictures of this thing. Now I don't think that Henry actually could read the newspaper. I think that this may have been a staged photo. And there's Bruce. Why this person's mowing the lawn and the robot's not mowing the lawn is beyond me. I mean, isn't that the purpose of robots, to save us labor?
Yeah.
But at least it would bring you the latest copy of Robotics Age when it got mailed to you. And I think, oh, and your slippers. Again, these may be posed pictures. These may not be real.
That's a possibility.
But we don't know that for sure.
That's right. We don't. Because look, it's got a ZX81 inside. So we know it has a lot of processing power. And he, in his article that he wrote for Sync, he talks about how he used a 16K RAM pack. And then on top of that, he had another byte back 16K. So potentially 32K worth of RAM. And there's his various interfacing boards. That's all under that little dome.
Wow.
Yeah, this was a pretty serious endeavor. Oh look, he didn't even bother to take off the ground strap. He just went hardcore. All right, let me go. Oh wow, I hadn't noticed this before. What a wow, that's crazy. So he had this homemade keyboard. I think that's homemade. I don't recognize that as being one of the commercial ones. And like a lot of other folks, he put his connector right on the side of the computer.
Yeah.
There's a ZX printer right there. It's kind of I recognize it's a little hard to recognize him because of the and then who knows what's in this giant metal case, but there's an X10 controller on top.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here's a picture inside the case. What is in there? Oh, probably it looks like an expansion bus with an expansion bus on an expansion bus. I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a couple cards. Oh, here we go. It's a couple card slots down here at the bottom, right? And then there's this card right here, which has a couple card slots on it as well. Because why not? Why not just throw in some extra noise while you're doing that? And then he wrote a book about it, which was supposed to be published by Tab Books, but they I think they passed on it. It got as far as a decent title page being made, but the entire thing is available on archive. You don't have to look at it as individual JPEG pictures. So anyway, like I said, I pulled together some resources, and wrote a little blog post about it. So this is the stuff about Bruce Taylor's article. There were a couple of kids. This was written.
Oh, so this is your blog post it's just not published yet.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Posted
what is this?
in the morning? Right. Exactly.
Okay.
In DC, in the DC area, there was the Capital Area Timex Sinclair users group, and they published a newsletter. And in '85, a couple of kids in Maryland, because it's all the same thing up there, Maryland and DC and Virginia. A couple kids did some science fair articles, projects rather, using the 1000 or the ZX81. So in one case, the kid hooked up a robotic arm to a 1000. Probably not as nifty as that robotic arm that we saw at VCF Midwest. But he interfaced that with one of those bite back BB1 interface boards. And then another kid in 9th grade, it's pretty good, built an interface to control external devices through his computer, which eventually could have been robotics, but the stuff that he did was light bulbs, radio, beeper, fan motor. But that leads to robotics.
And you found this through what, Sync or?
Oh, so this was in the Cats newsletter, rather.
Okay.
This article.
Okay, about both those kids.
Both of those kids, same article.
Okay.
Yep. Actually, sorry, here's right here. Let me make this bigger so that not that.
And you sure you know all the newsletters on your site, I will tell you.
Well, you know what? I actually had to search my site for this. I knew that there was some stuff.
Okay.
But this one was cool. It had, you can see this little diagram of the axes of controls of his robotic arm, and then this little diagram here of its reach.
Yeah.
Crazy volume diagram. Unfortunately, really low resolution photos, because back in the day it was paste your photo onto a paper and then go to the photocopier. But if you want to re-implement Mike O'Neill, this is the ninth grader with the interfacing to the radios and stuff. You want to re-implement his interface. Here's the schematic, which looks like it was written or drawn by a 9th grader. Here's the article that is about Bruce's computer that was published in Sync magazine. And so if I'll zoom in on some of these, so you can see some of these older photos. Some of these are the ones that ended up on that website, except in black and white. All sorts of cool stuff. I'll scroll past the ads, and then if you want to build his thing, he tells you how to do it using this device called the RX81, which was an interfacing board available at the time. There were some weird commercial products. I'll show you this one. This was called the Smart Rabbit robot. And I believe that the ad here sort of oversold what this thing could do.
Yes, I have the pictures of the original ones.
Oh, cool. All right. Oh, so and that must be why you. Okay, cool.
Now you know why I'm here.
Look at you in just a sec. Awesome. Then there was this other funky thing called the Robot Motion Platform, which some of you may recognize.
The big tracks.
Thank you.
Oh, I was just gonna say that. You beat me to it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. And
which was, by the way, just a toy that was sold by, I don't remember what company.
I think I still have one of those things.
Mattel or something.
Mattel.
Yeah.
Okay, Mattel.
Okay.
I think you're right.
Yeah, they're also made in Europe. They were white in Europe, in England area.
I'm sorry, they made a what?
The big tracks, they were also sold in Europe, but they were white instead of the gray color.
Oh, how weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. And then there was this thing, there's another platform that the same folks made here, which was essentially the same thing, but jacked up on some sort of spacer. It looks like there's some stuff underneath it. And then this company called Lennox Teaching Complete Robot Teaching System. Yeah. And I don't have the picture of this, but it was obnoxiously expensive, like thousands and thousands of dollars, especially for 1984. All right.
Well, I have a question about that. So their audience was people who are using Timex computers
Yep.
who are on a budget, right?
Right.
So
right.
what were they thinking there?
Well, it was a robotic teaching system, and I think it may have been meant more for schools than for individuals. And so,
Right.
for $100, you can add in essence, a Z80 controller to it. That's one way to look at it.
And 1980 robots weren't exactly a bargain back then either. So you have to look at the market of how much more affordable the Timex was than the RB5X and the Heroes and the Hubots and the Androbots and all the other ones. So it was an interesting time to go through.
So, what's your real name? Small Robot.
Yeah, it's my name's Rick Rowland.
Okay.
I haven't had my camera on since COVID, so yeah, my website either smallrobot.com or norlandrobotics.com, and I've been collecting robots since the 80s. So,
oh wow, okay. What did you say was
Norland Robotics?
Oh, here we go. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing on Timex there yet. I would love to build Henry, and I've been on the quest to looking for the interface card, the ZX81 or whatever it was called that he used, and I have yet to find one of those. So,
well, funny you should say that, because another member of our group who lives in New Zealand recreated the card.
Oh.
Yep, he reverse engineered it and created a new schematic and a new PCB, and you can order it through JLC PCB.
Interesting. Is there a website or?
Yep. I'll dig it up for you. I'll drop it.
Okay. Awesome.
This is why these meetings are so crazy cool. Like Tim is going to be so happy to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, I chased down the owners of the children of the owner of Hobby Robot who built the Rabbit.
Really?
And it led me to the son who sent me pictures of all the stuff his father had done. And the Rabbit was not anywhere near what was in that picture. It's basically went to Home Depot and got 2 flower pots. The bottom half's one flower pot, the top half's another flower pot, and then the little drip trays were put together to make the head. I don't know if I have it on my website yet or not, but yeah, it was an interesting robot.
That's crazy.
And then they made a bigger one called Oscar that was bigger flower pots, and they had a pet computer in that one.
So you had to water these robots, in other words. Is that,
it was just good, cheap material. Because he mostly had like 6-wheel, looked like ATV type robots originally. And then when he was trying to compete with Hero and Heathkit and Androbot and RB5X and all the other companies, he started trying to make them look a little more robotic, I guess. So yeah, it was an interesting time of everybody thinking this is going to be the next $1 million product to be sold. Yeah, a lot of disappointed people in the 80s when the crash came in about 84, 85.
I found it on your website. I'm gonna share this because it's stunning.
There it is.
Like jaw-droppingly stunning.
Yeah, that's Oscar. That's the big one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
I think he did a good job using flower pots. That came out pretty cool.
I, 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 I,
I would never have known those are flower pots. You've ruined it for me.
You know how many years it took me to find out what it was?
That looks like the robot from Black Hole.
it does. It looks like one of them. Yes.
Yeah, a little bit like the what was it?
Oh, I
George
think
or
you're
Bob
right,
or
Chris.
something. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, somewhere on the page there should be the rabbit too.
Okay.
And there's
Ugh.
the
Wow.
brochure. As you can see, everything was pretty basic. There's
Yeah.
Oscar.
Yeah.
There's Rabbit.
And
Oh,
then,
so you have the whole brochure. Great.
and
Yeah.
let's not forget, this cardboard box with two
Yes.
holes. That's something else, wow, okay. And then the outdoor service robot. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This is where you mount your lawnmower, I suppose.
Herman, that one's called. Is that what it
Herman.
says?
This is bizarre. I mean, yeah, the rabbit.
This is better than I ever hoped for when I asked about robotics. Of being like, I could never have expected cardboard boxes and flower pots,
Oh,
And you've made my day. That's why I do all this.
yeah. Look at
Yeah,
those
the
flower pots.
bottom tray is one of those little trays you usually get like strawberries and stuff in.
You're kidding.
No, everything came from Home Depot. Little chrome trim here and there, car speaker on top of the head. Yeah.
It seems like you were buying down one side of the Home Depot, like in the
Gardening section. Yes.
The garden. Yes.
Well, I can't remember. I know here we had Allwoods. They didn't have, Home Depot back then, but I'm trying to think what the dang, stores like that were back then
Central Hardware was a big one.
Well, this guy was in Georgia, which is I feel like is one of the isn't that where Home Depot's originally from or something?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing Home Depot until, much later.
Yeah.
And again, my story came from someone remembering stuff from the 80s. So
Right. Well, I mean,
but
I'm sure it was like a wood, like a store like Home Depot is, but I just know like here in Albuquerque we had a place called Allwoods, which is the same kind of thing. You could get, all kinds of home improvement stuff, but I know there was probably a big major chain. I just can't think of the names of those anymore.
Builder Square was another one.
Builder Square, yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, and Lowe's. I'm trying to remember where Lowe's started. I looked up the history of Lowe's once. It started just as
I
one
think
guy
that
said,
doesn't. It's not as the big picture here. Like,
keeping
Yeah.
the cost down by using inexpensive components.
Yeah.
Yeah, where Anderbot took the other route to see how much of Nolan Bushnell's money they could spend
Right.
until he went broke.
Right.
Right.
They're awfully made though. They're really quite crap.
Is that right? I don't know
Yeah,
anything about
I
them.
have one. I have the small one, and then Jerry Ellsworth has the tall one, and they're both like pretty shitty plastic. So
Yeah, they used Kydex at least. It wasn't flammable like ABS.
Wow. That's really crazy. So you have a bunch of these sorts of things?
Oh yes, I have a semi trailer full of RB5X shells. So if anybody ever wants to recreate an RB5X, I probably got a dozen topos intact, and then I provide parts to people as they find missing parts on their topos and stuff, and then what else do I got in my collection? I got heat
How did you get
kits.
started on all of this?
Yeah.
How did you get bitten by the robot?
I
bug?
wasn't a Timex guy, so don't kill me.
Okay. No, that's okay. I wasn't either.
I was the Atari guy in Las Vegas, we had a users group back when the Atari 800 came out, and we got so big we had to use the theater at Sam's Town Casino to host everybody. And of course, the Consumer Electronics Show comes to Las Vegas every year, or Comdex. I'm a little blurry. I can't remember which of the two shows, but they
Both
would
of them.
set up.
You're right. Both of
Yeah,
them would show up.
yeah,
Yeah.
David,
yeah, but
maybe you can highlight him.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
and then we would host the shows, and when they came to town, and then we'd all work their booth and everything. So the group, when Androbot was going under, we got a notice that you could buy them for $125 each. They were non-operational. So the club went in and we all bought. My dad drove it by truck down there and picked up a half dozen or so of them. So then we put Atari computers in them. So that was kind of our Henry type thing.
So they really were non-operational then.
Correct. They were the generation one. It was just nothing but a radio controlled board
Oh, okay.
hooked to an Apple computer, and everything was handled in the computer and the motion. They didn't even talk the first generation. So the second generation came out with the talking robots and used infrared. And now that LED lights have become popular, a lot of those don't work because of the interference from the LED lights. So if you got a second generation topo and you got LED lights, most of the time you have to turn the lights off in the room.
Don't some of them controllable from joystick port?
Right. Yeah. Use the Apple and you can plug in the joystick port, and then the Apple will send it. And then there's another program someone wrote years ago that works on the Windows, that topo script. So you can control the robots with it quit working when Windows 10 came out. So you have to find an older computer for it. Nobody's updated the software on that one yet either.
So at what point did they go in? Did these robotics go into the demolition competitions?
Oh, that was probably my daughter was probably just turning 13 or 14.
Uh-huh.
And I made a product for years called Sam. And basically it was a copy of a topo, but it was a foot tall, and you put like a basic stamp or something like that inside of it.
Okay.
And that spawned us off to our educational robot that we sold thousands and thousands of all over the world. So one of those serendipity things, you know.
Yeah.
My son said, "Hey, I got this cool thing. It's called the internet. You put a store up. You want to sell something?" And I made the little robot for my daughter to take to school. And he put it up there, and all of a sudden I had customers. I had to start building them.
Mhm.
And you mentioned the basic stamp, man. I haven't heard that term in a while. The old
Yeah.
parallax, yeah. That was a nice little microcontroller thing, yeah.
Yeah, he's gone pretty exclusive on the microbit with cybersecurity. That's kind of where Parallax has gone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he still seemed to be going strong, so that's pretty cool. All the other basic stamp clones disappeared.
And this calculator robot, is this a thing that you do now, or?
We retired during COVID.
Okay.
Since kids couldn't all come in and touch the robot. The sales dropped, and then TI finally very nicely told us that we're going to make our own robot. Thank you for 20 years of making a robot for our company.
Wow.
Oh.
But yeah, they adopted us. They flew us all over the country to all their different shows. We were there. They loved the robot at the teacher show because it drew people into the booth. You walk by a calculator booth at a teacher show and it's like, not a calculator, huh? Yeah.
Right.
So all of a sudden they saw the robots running around in the booth, and on a little tabletop, and they would kind of double back and come back in. And they'd come, and we gave seminars and we give all the teachers one while they were sitting there and have them program it and run them off the tables and all that. And we sold a lot of them from everywhere.
And how did you get uh, a tractor trailer full of RB5X?
Um, when RB5X went out of business, a very smart gentleman named Con Brown.
Can we? I'm not sure which robot that is. I guess I'm a little
Oh,
confused with all this robot talk. Which
Yeah,
one is that one?
yeah, just type in RB5X robot, it'll pop up.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll bring one up.
yeah.
All right.
They look like a little R2D2 without arms or
Okay.
conventional arms.
I'll share.
But yeah, the company went out of business 84, 85.
Oh, okay. I've seen this one.
Yeah. And went bankrupt. Working on a book on all this stuff. Michigan Robotics came in and pretty much destroyed all these companies, saying he was going to buy them and didn't have any money. So they all went bankrupt.
Huh.
So Con Brown bought the remaining inventory and he started making them. And his genius was, instead of making them personal robots, he strictly made them for education. He gave up on the consumer market.
Yeah.
And he did that up until 2004. And then a friend of mine bought the company and he made them for about another 10 years. And then he said, you want this stuff or I'm going to throw it in the trash? So I filled up the trailer. And I sell them on eBay. I get a couple sales a week.
Wow.
So just.
So if I wanted, a robotic shaped trash bin, for instance.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Real nice kid. He recreated all the plastic parts so we can all 3D print them now. And then of course people are buying them for makers shops and education, and some of them are repairing old ones, and got a pretty good sized Facebook group going and all that.
Hey, Mike, I think you had a question. Mike,
Yeah, I have the Bruce Keller's book on controlling a building Henry.
Yep.
And the only thing I didn't make Henry, but they had two different platforms. And one platform I made, it was like a wooden base, two wooden base with spacers. And on the bottom, I had a 10 amp hour battery, 12 volts, and two motors, 12-volt motors, and with wheels. And then on the back was a caster. And then on the top, I had my original Timex Sinclair 1000 I got from Crazy Eddie's. I have that on it. And then I have the computer Quantanium expansion board.
Okay.
And that's hooked. That's what you see on the back. It's an expansion board. It has its own 12 volts, 9 volts, and I think it's 5 volts on it. And it's the battery supplies voltage on everything.
Yeah.
And I had bumpers you put on 4 sides, and as it moves, if it hits a bumper, it'll stop and back up and wait a few minutes, and then it turns and goes in another direction. And this is one of the relay boards I just found. All the other stuff's down in the basement someplace. I gotta look for it.
Right.
Hang on, let me spotlight you, Mike.
It's a 12-volt. I forget what you call them. It's relays. It looks like ICs. I got them from Radio Shack.
Huh.
There's 4 transistors, and it's for 2 motors. And
you're gonna have to pull your robots out to show us sometime.
So what?
Yeah, so you're gonna have to pull your robots out to show us sometime.
Yeah, well, the problem with that is I had a 16K module on it. Yeah, but the problem is when you type in all the program files on it, just for the small expansion thing, the small thing, and then you go save on a cassette recorder, and then the darn cassette recorder doesn't load, and I got to start printing them all, typing everything out again.
Oh, gee.
That's one bad thing about the Timex. Everything is on the darn cassette.
Well,
But
you could have used
I have a Z expand.
Yeah, or
The Z expand.
a battery backed memory module, like one of the
Yeah, I did have one later on, and then I moved here, and then I didn't use it. It was a buyback I forget, he's 16 or 64 I had.
mhm.
Batteries in it.
Yeah, that would have done the trick.
Well then I moved here and I found that and I sold it. As is $60 and somebody bought it. And at that time, like I said, I wanted to go back. Well, my original one's on the computers, on that robot thing. So I bought some 1000 TS 1000s, and I'm trying to find out one that works because you get on eBay, you don't know what you're getting. Then I took one I had. Well, originally when I typed the stuff out, I didn't use the membrane. I had the Centronics keyboard case. I bought it 1000, and I use a transistor resistor for composite output. But that wouldn't work with the new TVs. So so then I tried to do a couple 1000s later on, and it didn't work because my original one that was in the keyboard case went. So then I got a 1500, and when I got the 1500, I had 3 of them. That's when I told you about the different boards.
Yeah.
Different boards. So I put a what do you call it? What do you call it? CXVID board, video board.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
All the where the what do you call it? That metal can where the video comes out.
The modulator.
Modulator. I took all that stuff out and I put the board in that. And the keyboard, some keys.
Does that give you a composite or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It gives you a nice
I
quality.
can composite it right to a LCD TV. And also I replaced the keyboard in it. And then about 3 years ago or so, I originally had a 2068 years ago, and I'm surprised. I'm sorry I sold it. I had a refurb. I bought a refurb from Pyramid Electronics in Florida, and I got it, and I tried it, and it didn't work. But I sent it back to them. They gave me another refurb, worked, and then from RNG Enterprises, the Larkin dual disk drive system. I also had a modem, 2050 modem I had, and I had that, and I was using that, and then one day, I think it was in 1989 or something like that, I went by a Radio Shack and I had the 1000 TL2, so I bought that, and what I did, I took the whole thing and sent it to RMG as a package deal, and he got 25% commission, and I got more money than what I paid for all the equipment because Larkin stopped making the disk drive interface. So it's just a couple years ago, about 3-4 years ago, I bought a 2068 from a guy that his father passed away, and his father had 4 of them, and I got one for a good price, about maybe 100, about $200 maybe total, and I took it out. It's a brand new unit.
Wow.
It's sealed, brand new.
Rich.
Yes.
How did you find us? Did you hear Adam's cry into the wilderness?
I'm not sure who I found. I found the users group, for lack of a better term, whatever they're called now. But
right.
I left a message on there looking for the YX81. Like I don't have
the RX81. Okay, I remember.
Yeah, that. And came up dry, so didn't haven't found one yet. I really want to build a Henry. That's what I enjoy doing more. As you can see what me and my granddaughter are doing in the back. We're trying to build a robot that looks like her lunchbox.
Nice.
So she's becoming my little robot nut.
So Rich, I put a link to the RX81 interface on my website in the chat.
Okay.
And if you go there, you can see the original design that I think came from Bruce's book, and then Tim recreated it. You can see that more modern schematic there. And Tim did he show me a physical board? I think he might have. I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, he talked a long time ago about sharing that on his GitHub, but he never did.
Oh no, it's not there. Okay, we'll get him to put it up on the GitHub.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk to him.
Because I've been kind of waiting for that to show up.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, what does Michael have there?
I got that.
I think he's holding up the original illustration from the book.
No, this is something, a supplement that Bruce Taylor sent me, because originally I got the computer content. I forget how you pronounce it.
Computer continuum.
Yeah, I got it, and I assembled it, and then the voltages weren't coming out right, so I sent it back to him, and he fixed it for me, and he told me what was wrong, and we corresponded a few times. I got letters from him.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I got the complete schematic of the expansion thing.
Cool.
Everything's in the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I've restored all these other robots, and I got Vanderbot was coming out with one called Bob, and I ended up with all those from a friend in Michigan that does old robots, and now I'm sharing those parts with friends all over the world to build those, and we're having to reproduce some pretty old electronics. It took me like 3 tries on eBay to get a couple of the Timex computers to work, a couple of keyboards and some solders and power supplies. So I got them working. So now once I get an interface board, I can work on that. I don't know if I'm going to manufacture circuit boards or do wire wrapping. I never liked wire wrapping.
Well, see, this is the nice thing about things like JLC is that
Robot.
you order one, you get you get 5 for for this board. It would be maybe just like $2 or $3.
Yeah,
it's so small.
You were talking about parallax.
Yeah.
But
there you go.
The Board of Education bot.
Yep.
I remember that. Wow.
They still sell it.
Is it really?
Oh, you can still buy one.
I also got the we got stamp.
The basic stamp.
Stamp works. It's a book with the development board. The one that's like a motherboard. It's like I think they call it development board. And you have ICs on there. You got what do you call them? Where you put the circuits in. What do you call that board? It's like the
sockets.
Yeah, the sockets. There's a whole bunch of white sockets, and you can put your IC in it. You plug in it boards, and it's I'll have to show you. Maybe I can find the link.
Wow.
I don't know. It's somewhere over there. I'll find the link.
From the back pages of Nuts and Bolts magazine. Probably. Very cool. Rich, thanks for finding us, man. This has been really crazy and really cool.
Yeah. I'm glad you might have found me a way to find an interface board so I can build a Henry. I've yet to find a human on the planet that has a Henry. I would assume somebody built one.
Yeah.
The unicorn, I haven't found anybody with the unicorn either, which it was originally based off of.
Yeah, and that was wasn't that like a 5 series, 5 article series or something like that in radio electronics?
I think it was like 18 or something. It went on for a long time. Might have skipped a few issues or something, but yeah, I've got them all here somewhere.
Well, if the Henry book was never published, how were people going to build it anyway?
Oh,
he made it public domain pretty current after the book wasn't printed.
Yeah.
Uh,
And he
Oh,
sold-
okay.
he sold
So how
copies.
would you find out about it though? About
he advertised in
And
magazines, and he sold copies like what Mike has. He sold.
oh, I
copies.
see.
yeah.
Yeah.
So while it wasn't printed by the tab books, it was
He
available to buy in book format.
correct.
Okay.
what happened was Bruce told me, he says, originally Tab Books was going to publish it, and Tab Books went out of business. So he got his document and everything back, and he published it himself. And the picture that Dave showed you with that the 2068 with the printer and all, that's what he used for printing the manual, and then he just used a copier, I guess, for the some of the prints and stuff. And then in the Zinc magazine, they had the advertisement of Henry, and then he had Budget Robotics.
Yeah, Budget Robotics was his company.
Yes, small insert, and they said you could buy the book for $29.95, and that's what I got, the $29.95 binder and everything, and you could buy the boards from him.
Yeah. Was it the place that sold them based out of New Mexico?
Yeah, I think so.
Or Arizona, maybe. One of those.
Yeah, it's in Zinc magazine.
Yeah.
Budget Robotics and Computing, I think is the name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he didn't build the interface board. I think someone else made that and he kind of adopted it.
That's right. Yes.
The company went out of business and he bought the board.
That's right.
Yep.
Contamian or something.
Well, there were two companies. He bought the Computer Continuum board, which is the
expansion
other
board.
one. And there was another company called Zodex that did the RX-81 board, and that's the one that he used mainly in his Henry. Yeah. Wow.
Yep. And talking with the gentleman that worked for Hobby Robot, he said they used the same Timex interface board on the Rabbit.
Whoa, that's
So-
crazy.
Somebody bought some of them. They have to be out there somewhere, I guess, unless everybody threw them away like a lot of the other stuff we throw away today.
Yeah. Well, that RX-81 board had 32 with not 32, with 16 IO lines, I think. 8 latched inputs, 8 outputs, 8 inputs. Yeah, 16 IO lines. Okay.
All right.
So
I should recreate this project and be a little more genre correct.
yeah, but where are you going to get the the observation dome?
Home
I can
Depot.
make them. Same place we get the RB5X dome.
I saw on eBay the dome and something else on eBay. I was looking at it.
Yeah. A lot of people use the dog windows for a fence. They make the domes
Oh.
and you cut a hole in your fence and stick it in there and your dog can stick his head out in it. So there's all kinds of repurposing out there.
Well, that's a weird idea. Okay. Never seen one of those.
It looks
Yeah,
like
they're on Amazon, so take a look.
Okay. Okay. Very cool.
But yeah, the cool part, most of Henry is all thread from hardware stores and relays, and it wasn't anything that was too manufactured specific for it. He just repurposed everything.
Of course, it would be more expensive now because everything's more expensive now.
Oh yeah.
Well, the motors got it from a surplus place, and he actually show you where you can get it. A couple places in the catalog.
Yep.
All of those places are gone.
It's a surplus place. That's where I got the motors, and they're geared down motors. They're big things with gears.
Now my wife complains about my collection. I have boxes and boxes from the surplus days of we'd buy 24 of the motors, and so I think I got a lot of the original stuff he used. If not, it's going to be pretty close.
Wow. Cool. Cool. Well, thanks, Rich, for joining
I
us.
would I say that's certainly unexpected to hear from you. I'm gonna have to check out your site and
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah, and I'm trying to build it up because the gentleman with the Old Robots website, I understand he's in a home now,
Oh dear.
and another gentleman, Buckley in England, he's getting up there in years. So I'm trying to help preserve a lot of that. Got a friend in Australia that's copying a lot of the stuff and preserving it. So hopefully we can keep a lot of this stuff for another generation or two.
yeah.
Well, do you have the Heathkit parts, or is that the other guy?
Robert Dorr is the Heathkit guy. Yeah, but he's got all the parts for those.
Yeah, I don't know if it's possible, but I have a website about a different computer system. It's not Timex, but every once in a while I'll upload the entire website to archive.org as a huge zip file and an archive file, and if you can just download the whole site this way, if something happens to me, uh, people can still use my site. My site will go down. My wife will be like, "How do I renew Bally Alley? Who cares about that crap?" So,
There's another one. Cybernetic Zoo is another robot guy, and he's no longer with us, I believe. And again, Buckley in Europe is got it all backed up, and uh, we're kind of waiting for some of the domain name. If when they fall off, then we can purchase the domains hopefully in time and get them all back up again. So hopefully we can preserve this stuff for a few more decades.
Rich, did you go to VCF Midwest?
No.
Okay, because I remember there was a display of topos and Hero Juniors.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of his name. Yeah, he had the Atari robot, the Androman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he has one of the topos that came from the Atari computer camp. And they were just the version 1, which was just radio controlled. And they reworked the wireless joysticks into the robot to allow it to have sensors. And a gentleman named Kurt Vindell rescued all that stuff, and then he ended up with it. And
he passed away a few years back.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's the one that got me all the blueprints for the Andro Man and a few other things. So he was a great guy. And we thought we lost him once before. He got a spider bite or something, and he got real sick.
That's what killed him in the end, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
It gave him a bad heart.
Yeah. Yeah. I assume a spider bite's not good for you.
Not for Kurt.
Yeah. But it's been great to meet all these collectors. And like I said, I'm trying to spread this stuff everywhere so some of this lost knowledge doesn't disappear.
Actually, his website's back up, but I think it's a mirror from a guy named Reese out of the UK.
Oh, good. I'll have to look that up and see how much of it survived.
What a small world.
But
I mean, I guess it makes sense that we have these shared interests, but it's funny how
Just say that what you said again. I didn't quite like.
I say what a small world, but Rich is talking about this person, and Chris is like, oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff from him, Atari related, and his name pops up in a lot of stuff I work around. So,
okay.
Rick, did you ever come across intersect with some of the British robots? Like, there was the Fisher Techniques based robot for the BBC Micro.
Yes, I've investigated them, but have not come up with any physical hardware. David Buckley has a website. I'm trying to remember what his website is. You probably have been there. He did a lot of work. He did a lot of articles in the British or BBC magazine. I'm trying to think of what it was called. The electronic magazine went down in like the mid late 80s. because I guess the microbit was actually before the microbit we picture now. It was some kind of BBC computer interface or computer that they used to give to schools. And,
Yeah, with BBC Model B.
yeah, and he did some robots for that and did that in the electronics magazine.
If you ever come out to VCF West, a guy named Stephen Crozier he usually has one on display.
Oh, okay.
Pretty cool. I mean, it's really in the Logo, when Logo was an interesting programming language for little kids. That was the gizmo to excite the kids, where you could plot with them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the number one request on our little calculator robot, was to draw. We made a little side arm, and some of these kids just did some amazing things with them. They'd send me their homework and stuff. And
and here's another type of robot from the times past.
The Armatron. Do you never hack yours apart from the radio electronics article to convert it to interface with a computer?
No, this one's actually, I need to print some replacement gears in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried.
There was a TV show called Small Wonder that took a topo robot and put 2 Armatrons on it for the TV show. If you ever saw that, it's pretty ugly.
K9, such a great dog.
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
When science fiction in the UK didn't require special effects,
can we highlight Keith's? He was just showing his robot out of the box, actually.
Let me find Keith in the list of.
Keith, you see him there?
Hang on, Keith. Cool.
There it is.
Yep. Is that battery operated, or how does that one work?
Yeah, four C-cell batteries.
C-cells.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how can it rotate? Is it just grip, or what does it do?
It's fully articulating. See if I can get the joystick. Of course, it's all dusty. It was up on a window still there, but you have ability you actually twist the joysticks for like turning, rotating at the wrist.
Oh, that's neat.
So this will rotate, and then full directional, and then here the 2 different knuckles, the 2 different joints.
We could have a virtual fight.
Down here. What's that?
I said we could have a virtual fight.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man.
Have either one of you been inside one yet?
I've opened it up before a long time ago.
Lots of gears, huh?
Yeah, it's all mechanical.
Yeah, it's all mechanical. And then the article in one of the Atari magazines, you brought it out with shafts, and you bought some little gears and put little DC motors on the outside, and then you use the joystick part to turn those separate motors on, and you could write a program and have it animated, kind of like the one in Brazil that I just saw the other day, running off the Timex.
Yeah.
There's a Timex computer in the movie Brazil?
No, the Brazil country has a robot.
Oh.
In a museum somewhere. Somebody posted, I saw.
That's Portugal. That's the
Portugal. Sorry, wrong country. I get in trouble doing that all the time.
Yep, that's the one that Joao was talking about, the spinning Ree, whose last name is escaping me. I'm going to see if I can find my email about it. And there's a YouTube video. If I
Surprised Adams hasn't seen. I remember seeing the Armatrons at Radio Shack. They'd have them out front, and you could play with them in the store.
Well, I remember them. I just, don't remember much about them. Yeah.
And I know when I was getting into electronics, I remember there was like, people that were doing robotic stuff with electronics. And I distinctly remember that I really wasn't interested in that for whatever reason. I was more interested in the electronic side than the electromechanical, electronics. And I remember not pursuing robotic stuff when I was a kid.
Well, wasn't it like ridiculously expensive, Carl? I mean, for those of us
I don't
with,
know. I think it was in high school or something like that. But there was like like a robotics class because I was in the electronics class, and then they were doing stuff with the robots and I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was particularly expensive per se, but it's just motors, right? More motors and gear reduction and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
that just didn't really didn't really ring my bell or anything. So I just kind of, oh, that's great, guys. Just keep going on. I'll do my stuff over here.
Well, I think the kits that at least I saw in the advertising were fantastically expensive.
Yeah, especially for an arm. I'm going to show this short clip of this video. Here we go. You won't get the audio because audio sharing through Zoom is not a thing.
Oh, that's a great video. That's the one that was posted just the other day.
Yep.
Yeah.
I put it in the chat. Although not nearly as impressive as the switch flipping video that was posted from the VCF thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Because that programmed a game on the Altair.
Right.
Yeah. Kill the bit.
Kill the bit. Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, at least we got a little bit of the video in there. Cool. Adam, is there anything else you want to know about robots?
I thought we'd talk 15 minutes. I had no idea. I mean, oh yeah.
in our AI robotic future overlord.
Right. Yeah. Let's not turn them all on together at the same time. Okay. 8-bit or not.
Cool.
Yeah. The saying since 1970s was, we're all going to have a robot in the next 10 years. And today they say we're all going to have a robot in the next 10 years.
I think that paired with Linux on the desktop is going to happen next year.
Yeah.
The thing is, none of us will be employed. We won't be able to afford a robot. So.
Well, if it's named Skynet, that may be a good thing.
Uh-oh, we have another Doctor Who robot there? Dialect?
Oh, the Daleks. The Daleks aren't really robots.
Does Michael have that?
Hang on a sec. I'm sorry. I can't see what it who's Mike, were you showing something?
That is in the box.
I'm trying to get hold of the mouse. This here somebody gave.
Oh, Forbidden Planet.
Yes.
Robbie, right? Was that it, Robbie?
Yeah. Where did you get that?
Oh, good Lord.
Alger more, gentlemen. I am walking to the resident.
Oh my.
I never took it out of the box, but it's supposed to walk too.
Where did you get that, Mike?
My one coworker, my supervisor, one of them I had, got it for me for my like a birthday present.
Okay.
And he went to a show there in he goes to these shows with sci-fis, conventions, like and he must have got it, and that's where he got it.
Cool.
I know they go for about $50 or more. So I
Wow.
kept it in the box. I might be worth something.
Cool. Okay.
I collect robots, but they're all like that. Or there's a local artist that makes a lot of things out of scrap material. So I have like a chessboard and a bunch of like art robots.
That seems neat.
Yeah, he apparently made a bit of a reputation in Japan, and he offered to buy it back from me at the profit to me. I kind of like it. I don't want to give it up.
That kind of reminds me. I thought they made a robot arm that moved chess pieces. I don't think that was a Radio Shack thing, but I thought I remember seeing something
Yeah, yeah, one
where
of the
you
test
could,
computers.
yeah, you could set it up where it would move its piece, instead of you having to move it or whatever. But you still had to play your piece, but it would move its pieces.
If it lost, did it flip you off?
Yeah, it might flip the table.
Thank you.
It's like the premium version.
It'd be like, F you, I'm not going to resign. I'm just going to flip the
There's a
table.
table. There's a piece.
It's not like playing you, Carl.
Hey, it might be fun. It might actually give you insults. What the hell did you do that for? What's that kind of move? You think you're going to win this? I'm a computer. No.
So I guess I do want to know, how did it all like go down the drain? What made it happen that it's always 10 years from now and it's never gonna happen, or maybe it will, but it hasn't.
Well,
The best example I heard of why we don't have robots is nobody's found that VisiCalc program for a robot. Everybody tells me that VisiCalc is the reason we all have a robot. That's why, or a computer, because that was the program that everybody decided they could keep their recipes and balance their books and their paycheck. And that's why home computers took off. And we haven't found that VisiCalc program for robots yet.
Don't we have robots everywhere, though? I mean, self-driving cars and 3D printers and lots of things that are quite autonomous. It's just they're
Well, I think
to
the
attack.
biggest robot that we have are like the vacuum cleaner robots.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's probably the best ones.
Well, I hate to tell you, but I think the Japanese have found the killer app.
I hesitate to ask.
Yes. Please hesitate.
Okay.
Is this sexual?
Well, I know they are showing those robots that are, fully, I mean, they look like human women. And yeah, I guess they can do everything.
Let's move on from there.
Yeah, right.
Going slightly off topic, Hyundai purchased Boston Dynamics, right? And apparently they really don't care about robotics. They bought it as a way to circumvent inheritance tax.
What?
They have this dilemma on how to when you inherit something in Korea, there's a massive taxation, and like the family that owns Hyundai and Kia, they basically all own little bits of each one of their companies in a weird way that they thought would like save them, and it's actually created a bit of a gnarly mess for them. And they bought Boston specifically to try and get out of that, but I don't think that's how help them either.
I'll look that one up.
So it's not like Boston Dynamics is really like the owners of it aren't really pushing robotics that much, because they only bought it as a chess piece in inheritance.
Well, that's too bad, because they have some pretty awesome robots.
Right. Yeah. And now others are catching them up, right?
Yeah.
Well, plus, robots like that have always been more for industrial stuff. I mean, I know they're trying to make like Boston Dynamics, right? The one robot's like a humanoid, so they can make them in warehouses, and they can do, kind of like robots are supposed to do is manual labor work, but they're also doing like soldier, trying to make them do like soldiers, replace soldiers, and on the front line.
I think their dogs and their mules are the most.
Yeah, those are the big ones. Yeah, but
the backward flipping robots is, I think, more of a tech demonstrator.
The one that does jujitsu or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it just shows some pretty crazy balance, and stuff like that they can do. But I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? You got to walk or get a crawl before you can walk.
Yeah.
So
No pun intended, I guess.
Well, potentially those, could probably, that would be great to replace soldiers, right? Why have them killed on the battlefield when you can just put robots out there?
Well, isn't that what happened in Terminator? And then, let's.
Well,
not go there.
I mean, we're not, not Skynet kind of stuff, but just
Okay.
just to save human lives, just so that, human lives aren't at risk.
Yeah, it makes you wonder why we even have jet planes with people in them anymore.
Yeah. Rick, I got a question for you. The Topo is a two-wheeled robot, right?
Two-wheel, yes.
So how does it balance? How does it
They
stay?
actually had to put casters on it. It has two little ball casters at the front and the back.
Okay. So it's not like those two-wheel robots that people build now, which use a computer to stay vertical.
Correct. They were trying when they built the robot, they built the base. And the base where the batteries are located pretty much self-balances. And if you vary the speed of the wheels where it doesn't go full fast, full slow, if you ramp it up and down, it would self-balance. But then once they put the body on it to make it marketable, then they had to put the casters on it because it bounces around like one of them punching bags that the kids used to get.
Moves the center of gravity a little bit. Okay. Interesting.
We do have the technology now to build the balancing robots. What was the movie? The Avengers movie. He's just on a ball and he runs around.
Oh, I don't know about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, they have the little bitty. Yeah, they have those little bitty. It's like in your phone. Those little sensors that they use in your phone. Yeah, so it knows if you're sideways or and you just hook those up to a microcontroller, and that's it can figure out how to balance pretty easily.
By the way, I can now tie this conversation back to Timex because Timex used to make gyroscopes.
There you go.
Yep. Yep. Actually, Danny Ross talked about this. China theoretically expressed an interest in the like the Timex Sinclair 1000, and he went over there with some folks, and they were there for a couple days, and he quickly figured out that they were not interested in the computers. They wanted Timex's military contracting stuff, which included gyroscopes, and he said, no, we're not going to do that. Peaced out.
What was Timex doing making gyroscopes? What were they doing with them?
Well, they made gyroscopes starting at least in the 40s for I don't know, military technology for missiles or something. Yeah, they made, there was a lot of companies that made other oddball things for the military during World War II.
They were a clockmaker, right? So that's the type of thing they would have been good at, along with like bomb timers.
Yep. Yep, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, ANSCO, I don't know if you guys remember ANSCO. GAF. I don't know if you guys remember GAF. They made what did they make? GAF made some sort of slide doohickey. Anyway, before GAF was GAF, it was a company called AGFA ANSCO. And at the outbreak of World War II, the government took over ANSCO because AGFA was German. And camera production suspended, and they made all sorts of weird, devices for the army, etc. And then at the end of the world, they returned back to making film and paper and cameras and whatnot. So all these companies did crazy stuff.
There's a lot of adaptation in the Second World War, right? I mean, we have the standardized inch because of Ford needing contract manufacturers to help build things with them, right? Like planes and military vehicles.
When you say
you know about the 30-cylinder tank engine that Chrysler made?
The what?
Chrysler made a 30-cylinder tank engine.
Oh.
They took 5 6-cylinders and made a big crank for it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
In a W shape.
In a W shape. Oh my God. Okay. Which is
you
what
could kill one of the 6 cylinders and the tank could keep going.
Huh. So one might argue that this is an early tractor pull technology.
Well, I think probably more for redundancy, right? So yeah, if you had at least the tank could keep going if things broke, because I guess obviously they shared one crankshaft with all these engines. So
Yeah. That's
I mean, you'd lose some power, but the other engines would still be going.
To answer your question, David, that I think the problem was until the Second World War, everybody was still got their own like definition of inch. So when the Chrysler and all those companies had to start working together to make planes to help Boeing and so on, they didn't have a standard measurement system, it turned out. Measurement's a really interesting subject. So he got measuring blocks from a guy called Johansson out of Sweden. It was and then they used those, I think, as a standard building block.
Wow. Okay.
I may be out by 15% from that story, but that's basically what I recall from. Isn't it fascinating that like an inch comes from 2 bushels of wheat? And of course, a wheat bushel, is it bushel? I can't pronounce it right. Like it would vary depending upon the crop. So there's a lot of things like that were very arbitrary in measurement.
Yeah. And yeah. I mean, to your point, if you're making stuff across multiple manufacturers, obviously it does need to be standardized at some point.
The U.S. military, as part of the Korean War effort, there's like a United Nations standard for measuring different things and defining different things, everything down to like electric motors, that came out of the fact that the US was working with the British and Australia and on all these other places, and they needed to potentially like share bullets. And so they came up with a standards system that goes beyond inches to include like how do you measure how a waterproof water pump, how do you measure its like crank torque or how you would screw it into something or the shaft lengths and all that kind of stuff that they standardized for military war efforts. It's wars drive things forward, right?
That's craziness. Oh.
Yeah, isn't the only gram the official one in France or somewhere? They get together once a year to check everybody's calibration.
Now they've changed that because the problem with the kilo was that one, gravitationally it varied depending where you're on the planet. The measuring it would be slightly different because gravity isn't consistent across the Earth when it comes to that measurement. And then the other one is, I guess, the these were made out of, I don't know, steel or whatever. They would ablate over a period of time. They would actually lose material. So now I think it's in the last couple of years they've moved to measuring a kilo as being so many moles of silicon. So the problem with a lot of these weights is here's a blob, that's the weight. You can compare it against something else on a scale, but now that's not very useful for first principles. So if you can actually count the amount of like atoms in the thing, then you can be very, very precise. So they're shifting as much as they're possible to like these ways to ultimately measure things from constants like light and stuff like that. Veritasium on YouTube is a fascinating TV show. You know,
Yeah, they've I think part of the problem with the weight is that it's actually, well, kilogram is a mass, so it's actually not weight. So that's where you get into the gravitational problems.
right. And even beyond that, they think they've lost weight over a period of time. Somehow there's stuff coming off them.
Well, that would certainly account for the decrease in the amount of coffee that you would get in a can of coffee.
Yeah, that must be the reason.
It's a 100% correlation.
So going back to how this conversation started about robots, I think there's another interesting conversation which probably only would last 5 minutes is what came of things that were like, if you look at Sinclair, he played with a lot of things, and one of the things was wafer scale technology. I'll just use that as the example, right? And I think that was kind of abandoned until maybe 5-7 years ago. Everybody had kind of tried it and given up. And now we have the world's largest AI chip based upon wafer scale, which kind of goes all the way back to Sinclair. So I'm sure there's like a bunch of subjects like that related to like what happened to that next. Like Sinclair also did like multimeters that was spun off to another company.
Yeah.
So do you think the military will ever get together and get us down to one programming language instead of us learning a new one every so many years?
They did. They got it down to Ada.
Yeah.
Did they?
And then, I think companies like Lockheed and so on used it for a while for satellite systems, but I think people have given up on that idea of one programming language.
I didn't even know anybody was working on it. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, Ada was quite a long. Actually, that was the first programming language I learned at university. It's a little bit like Pascal stroke modular 2 on steroids with a whip because it's extraordinarily strict.
Wasn't it because they couldn't get good compilers made? It kind of faded out.
I don't know about that. I mean, the compilers were generally available for most systems. I think it was just slow to progress because it was very standards, standard body. You know what standard bodies are like. They're very slow to move forward quickly. And I think just other things outpaced that.
Yeah.
It's still used. I mean, if you go and work for like Lockheed on space systems, it's quite or Eurocopter, which is like a European equivalent of like Sikorsky. I think they've used it a lot in control systems.
Chris, which
before I just want to say, like, no language really ever dies, right? Like, it's always there. Once it's been used and it's in a system somewhere, it's used.
Yeah, I mean, was it Emacs or VI that's Lisp based?
Emacs.
Emacs.
Yes, yeah. I heard they were running out of people that knew Fortran.
No, I actually, a friend of mine who is a tenured mathematician doing things around fluid dynamics. He uses a lot of Fortran. And yeah, there's still a place for that stuff.
A lot of it's because, once there's a lot of code, you're gonna have to. It's gonna cost money to rewrite.
Right. I mean, like the LAWPAC, which is, or LAPAC, I don't know how you pronounce it, which is the linear algebra package that a lot of other math things are built on. You compile that from first principles, it's actually Fortran code. It's being rewritten.
Yeah, I have my book just in case.
All right.
Oh, nice.
So, Brian, to ask Adam's question, did you get that for school or?
Yeah.
Okay. And when did you?
Are you guys going to start using that for the Pico?
Well, no.
Project? I bet that's what's going on.
No, the reason I ask is because when I worked up at Plattsburgh State, the comp sci department there taught Ada, and that was in the late 90s.
This was very early 90s when I was doing this.
Yeah, that was the kind of the sweet spot. And the way it was taught at my university was we used a book called Scan Home. That was the name of some dude that wrote the book. And our classes, it was not like here's how to program in Ada. They just talked about algorithms and like here's the Ada book, go and learn Ada.
Okay.
And then after that, we did like this is early 90s in the UK, which is probably different from here. Then we did like a study of a lot of other programming languages quickly, like Prolog, Lisp.
Yeah, I had something similar. We did
And then
Prolog and Lisp.
And then we were forced to learn some COBOL, which I must say that was like torture.
Should have come with a therapy class.
Right. Should come with therapy classes.
I also did have the engineering Fortran. Do you know who wrote this book? This was the great coincidence. I was in Texas when I was taking these courses.
Would it be Mr. Etta?
Hang on, let me spotlight you, Ryan. University of
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, because it was a big high performance computing area. So I was learning it. And then when I came here and got a job and I opened the book to study again, I was like, oh crap, I forgot about this. It was written by the guy who was, down the road. Really.
Was that because they were grooming people to go and help do nuclear bomb simulations?
Yeah, probably.
Speaking of Albuquerque, anybody here ever programmed with Savvy from Excalibur? They're an Albuquerque software company.
Don't know that one.
Never heard of it.
It's a very interesting language. It was almost for the 80s, it was almost AI. You would type in a line of code like, please print, and you spelled print wrong. It would come back to you and say, did you mean print? And they were based out of Albuquerque, Excalibur, and it's part of they were showing all their software at the robot where Henry got the award, the Henry robot.
Oh, in 84.
Yeah.
Okay.
And first time I started programming it was kind of weird because it felt like somebody was looking over my shoulder and telling me I was typing in things wrong. Or
so you've actually programmed in it then?
Yeah, it was kind of a mysterious program.
On which system?
Savvy, and it was on. They ported it on Apple.
Okay.
Old IBMs, several other ones, but Excalibur was the software company, and they got bought up by the government and haven't never been heard from since. So there's my weird story of
Does
where
anybody
did that technology go?
Does anybody remember years ago? I forget the company, but it was one company that offered the fourth language for the Timex Sinclair.
Hogwild.
The language called fourth.
Yep, Hogwild had a couple fourths. There was a fifth fourth, and I think something
the Jupiter Ace.
Yeah, there was the Jupiter Ace, which was a fourth based.
Who did the husband fourth? What company was that?
That's actually based on.
Check it out. Mark has his Jupiter Ace right there.
Yep.
Who is one? Mark does. Of course, Mark does. Hang on, Mark. Okay. The 4000, nice. And Mark, aren't there multiple models of the Jupiter Ace? See, all you have to do is
of course.
Aren't there more? And he turns around and gets the other one.
Can we have your address and rob you?
Oh, were they rare? Are they rare?
They're pretty expensive to buy now.
Oh, I see.
I think this, like, though they were a UK company, I think there's some models that were only in the US, right?
Is this where we say be right back while I check eBay?
Yes.
Good luck.
You'll need a drink.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it is basically the ZX81. It's just the OS is different.
Mhm.
I don't think the circuitry is really different than the ZX81, but
Yeah, they just changed the ROM chip basically.
yeah,
And the
yeah,
keyboard overlay probably.
it's just the OS.
Well, these wouldn't be the same ULA, right?
Right. That's correct. Although it was a couple of guys who worked for Sinclair that went off.
Yeah, it's what's the German guy's name? The one that was really pissy about the Spectrum.
Altwasser?
Yeah. Well, didn't he work on it?
Yeah. I feel like I should be, that I'm in the movie Blade Runner when I say his name.
Yeah.
Because I feel like his name is an address.
Steve Vickers and Richard Altwasser.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got a bee in his bonnet.
Carl, the answer to your question is Husband Forth is based on Pluriforth, which was done by a company called Tree Systems in
Tree Systems. That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very popular, probably the popular, fourth for the ZX81 anyway.
Yeah.
And it came with a really nice manual. Like 180 pages or something like that. Really, really good. If you want to learn Forth, if you're into that sort of thing.
Is it archived on your site?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think if because I made that external ROM board sort of kind of so we could get Forth running for you, David, without having to open the machines. But I know some of them, I think you have to replace the ROM because it's behind the resistor fence or something, So if it's external, you can't really overcome that, right? Unless you recreate the ULA circuitry or something. I don't know. Somebody was talking about it, but not all the ROMs can run, externally because of the video generation or something going on there.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I mean, the ZX81, everybody thinks it's, you kind of think of, it's a simple machine. But when you start delving into the details of it, it's not so simple how they were doing things. It was kind of complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot of really nifty tricks.
Yes, it was a very complicated bunch of corner cutting.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Sinclair was really good at that.
Oh yes.
To me, the funniest and classic is the 16K Spectrum that used really 32K of broken RAM.
Oh yeah, that I think that's probably in my mind almost the most classic Sinclair thing is, hey, we can get seconds, and then we pay some intern to sort them so that they're bad in the same half.
I had dinner once with Chuck Peddle, not long before he died, and I think he was kind of losing it, but he was describing how he got this great business idea of how he was going to buy SSDs that had problems with their memory chips, and he would basically, it's called binning, right? When you take a chip and you determine like its speed or the type of defect, and he's like, I'm going to bin these chips and then I'm going to remanufacture these SSDs, and then every laptop should have an SSD, and I'm like, every laptop already has an SSD.
Well, especially back in those days, memory was pretty expensive, right? Even the
this
DRAM.
was only a few years ago.
That too,
Spectrum.
yeah. But I'm talking, the Spectrum, because I mean,
yeah.
you got to, I'm sure some people know and some people don't know, but the system board for the Spectrum actually has jumpers for that RAM.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it was high or low, right. And then
Right, exactly. It was designed that way for these
Yep.
crappy RAM chips that, only half of them really worked,
Yeah.
but it was part of the design.
That's how they got the cost down.
Right.
But also, the only reason why the Amstrads had 3-inch disk drives is because I can't remember if it was Roland or there's some company that had contracted with Sony to make the drives for, I think it was like for synthesizers or something, and the whole product flopped. So there was like the stack of these 3-inch drives in Japan somewhere that they bought the lot of, and that's the only reason why there was 3-inch drives in the Amstrads.
Mm. Kind of reminds me of the TRS-80 Model 100. They came out with a portable disk drive. They call it the PDD for that, and that actually came from, I think, Juki. Juki made a knitting machine,
Right.
and it used that drive. And so I think Timex, Candy got a deal using those drives for the Model 100.
By the way, talking of Juki, if you open up not only TVs but also some like MSX computers, they're one-sided PCBs, right? And you'd see like wires that bridge on the opposite side. They'll have components and then they'll have bridge wires instead of having a double-sided PCB. It was apparently Juki that made this. There was like an adapted sewing machine that was used to actually make those wire connects.
I could see that. Yeah, I remember seeing a lot of boards back then. You're right; they were just single-sided, and they had all these jumpers. That's how they did it back then. You just had all these jumpers.
Yeah, and MSX computers used a lot of the brands use those.
I saw it. I don't know if it was at the VCF or not, but I was watching some of those videos, saw a video. Somebody showed a TV from the early 60s, Japanese, and it was color, but it did it by combining 3 separate CRTs.
Oh my God.
I guess the images from each doing a red, green, blue.
Projection screens did that.
Yeah.
Like the barcode projectors, they were 3 separate channels.
And they were like small in this box at these different angles, and so that was to have affordable color television.
Yeah, rear projectors did that too.
Yeah. I'm gonna tie into Carl's comment about Radio Shack. The Radio Shack color computer did the same thing the first model or two, where they would buy half bad 64K RAM chips to do 32K, and they had that upper and lower jumper as well. So I don't know if they copied that from Sinclair. Maybe not, because
no, it would have been before.
Sooner.
Yeah, it came out before.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I think back then a lot of the because I worked in Intel in the fab. When they bin the chips, they still want to make money.
Yeah.
And so if only half of it works, they were probably like, well, it's 32, 16K.
Look, it's a 32K chip.
Yeah, we'll sell these to somebody, and that's kind of, I'm sure, how they got that out.
And CPU's the same. In fact, there's massive lawsuits related to this, like AMD and Intel. You don't get different clock rates and 4-core versus 2-core or 6-core or whatever core. They're all the same. And then they bin them on speed. And then if they have a problem with like one of the cores, they're designed to fuse them out in the factory.
Yes.
And this saves fortune, right? Because you have a certain yield from a silicon, and you get
Guys, we have about 5 minutes to close out the meeting.
Thank you, Adam. I'm just looking for. Oh, our next meeting is the 19th, Sunday. That's apparently the 3rd Sunday in October. We don't have an agenda for that yet, although.
Apparently, we still need to talk about more robots. I mean, the subject has more to go. What are we doing?
I can do a couple hours of show and tell if you really wanted it.
I would not object to some robot show and tell for sure. And then Mark, had a question about folks who got the ZX Spectrum Next, and if anybody had backed that third Kickstarter. We could certainly talk about the Spectrum Next. And I say this in connection to, since he's already left for the evening, one of our members has said that he would like to work on a 2068 core for the Spectrum Next, which to me would make the Spectrum Next actually useful.
And this is kind of a, you know, I don't want to be the grammar police, but it's the ZX Spectrum Next.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, I know you're kind of calling it the Spectrum, which that's the retro
no, I was
games
calling
one.
the Spectrum Next, the Z Spectrum Next, but yeah, there's also the Spectrum, which is that other thing.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Well, we can talk about that next time then. I'll find out.
Yeah, we can talk about all the variations.
But the Next is the ZX Spectrum Next. Yeah, it's not the Spectrum Next, but
right.
No big deal. You know, not like I said, I don't want to be the grammar police, but it's
but
they
you
still
are.
use
It's okay.
they still use ZX Spectrum.
You're just
they don't use the
slur my words, Carl.
Well, yeah, you know, I gotta keep you on the right track there.
There you go.
See,
Chris
yeah,
just brought
ZX
one up.
Spectrum Next, right?
I have
It's
two,
not.
but I'm not buying the third one.
Yeah, I've got the first one. I did the first Kickstarter, but I didn't. It's like, why do I need another one? Plus, they got damn expensive.
And it was amazingly difficult for me to get my second one because for whatever reason they didn't ship mine, and then Hervé, I had to keep pestering him over like 6 or 8 months to get my unit from him.
Oof. Okay.
And then finally, you know, I mean, I don't know. We'll see, because of course I can't do. But the board behind me, this is the built one.
Oh, nice.
So I just finished building it. I don't have the sound chip yet. I think that's still in the mail from David, so he's sending me some sound chips.
Can we highlight him since he's showing it at the end of the meeting here?
I don't know how long I can, how close I can get to.
Yeah, a little bit lower. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
That works.
So this is the built version, but as you can see, down here I'm missing the sound chip, but everything else is in there. And I just finished putting the ESP chip. Oh, there's my idiot savant thing. But anyway, it's over here. It's reversed.
Yep.
Because I had to use a heat plate to unsolder this from the original board. the one I was running at the conference or at the show. And then I basically desoldered everything and then put it on this board because here's that board that was working at the show, but it's all depopulated now. I unsoldered everything and put it onto the blackboard. So hopefully by next meeting, maybe I'll have some test results. We'll see if that thing works or not.
What's your plan? Are you gonna sell them kit form, assembled form? What's the idea?
Well, this project was kind of really for Ingo's Kilo Z. That was kind of what we were doing with it, but I'm not opposed to that, I guess. But I don't know. It still uses all the original parts, right? So I mean, that's kind of the other thing, is you'll need a ULA, but you can still use Charlie's his ULA, his VLA 81 or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, it's not like you have to use an original one. I haven't tested his in there yet, but I know I bought 2 at the VCF show, and I gave those 2 to Ingo, so he can, once he builds his, because I gave him 3 of these boards for him to build, because I didn't know when I was going to get to building mine, but apparently I got to building mine pretty quick, probably before he did, because I don't know where I put all my parts for the original board. That's why I just said, well, I'll just harvest the parts from the board that's already working. I know it works, so it should, not transferring any problems over to this board, but this board has a lot of changes. I mean, it has the fixes integrated from what I learned on the first board to get it to work. But I also, like I said, I added the memory circuitry. You can kind of see over onto my right there, I guess, with all the jumpers, so you can select the chunks, and it's battery backed, and it's got added the sound.
Carl, maybe by the next meeting we can make this a topic too.
I'm just saying that I just wanted to show that it's built, so I'm on the cusp of throwing some power to it and seeing what the hell happens.
But Chris, to answer your question, we need to pressure Carl to let somebody sell it for him.
Yeah, I gotta Me and you, David, we need to hammer that part of it out so you can either order the boards and build them yourself, or I can
We'll
give you
figure
some
something
of the
out.
parts. Yeah, but anyway.
And Carl, your thing is apparently taking the slow road. It's in Dallas right now.
I thought it was, I
don't
kind
have
of,
it in
I wondered
Dallas.
why it was taking so long. It says it's going to get here Friday.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? But
Mhm.
anyway,
Okay.
I mean, when it gets here, it gets here. But then, like I said, I could probably power it up now and see what happens since I just got the ESP on it. And then the other thing too, just real quick, is, like I said, David has seen this, but I've got the two boards that basically integrate most of this stuff behind me,
Yeah,
except the ESP32. I don't know if you have the email. Maybe you can just show that real
No,
quick, because
actually, Carl, will you be comfortable talking about that in 2 weeks?
yeah, sure, we
Then
can
let's
talk
do that,
about that.
because that's really interesting. I mean, this is really interesting too. Well, it's all really interesting. I think people will be pretty jazzed by that too. Yeah. So
Yeah, at least you don't have to, buy a whole new board. You can just plug that into your existing
yeah,
unit.
that looks really, really
Yeah.
different. Yeah. Okay. So on that
Yeah,
note,
to wrap things up, David, I want to thank you for writing that article, and I look forward on the robots.
yeah, I'll have that
Yeah,
up
I look forward to seeing it, because the article you wrote on the VCF Midwest was it was real good. And then you
Oh,
posted that it's been added to some site that looks like a DOS site that has
yes.
links to all these videos and
I think it's VCF site.
Yeah.
oh,
It's
is it
their
the
site.
official site?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. It looks like I made it, but I made mine that way on purpose, and I know they did too. But it's yeah,
If
solid
y'all,
DOS.
if you have any thoughts that you want to share, for me to add to that blog post about the VCF thing, send them to me and I'll incorporate them. Carl,
Yeah.
Ryan,
I kind of wanted
anybody.
to send you something. Yeah, and I just haven't got
Send
around
me
to
whatever
it.
you
So,
want and I
okay.
will add it in. Yes, it's not cast in stone.
Right.
All right. So on that note, see you in 2 weeks.
All right, bye everybody.
All right.
Right. Have a good one, guys.
Cheers.